Good morning. This is the Site Plan Review Committee meeting, September 10th, 2019. Committee members present today include Dana Brangiaforti, our city assessor, Ben DeCristoforo, building inspector, myself, Frank Stringy, city planner, Nick Rystrom, city engineer, Paul Cheever, deputy fire chief, Paul Argentio, superintendent of public works, Joe Maglione, assistant director of water and sewer department, and Mark Locke, plumbing inspector. The first site plan today is for 502 Proctor Ave. Going up.
Frank, this is for an accessory structure.
We'll have a seat.
Yeah. Do you have a floor plan?
Yeah.
It's for an accessory structure, Frank.
Accessory structure?
Yeah, it's gonna exceed, I mean, it's a rather large lot, but it's gonna exceed the 10%.
Is this it here?
Yeah. Yes. Is this it right there? Is that it?
Yes. So the total square footage is 1,054 square feet?
Correct.
Okay. On a slab, one story,
Yes.
no higher than 15 feet?
10 feet max.
10 feet.
So the only thing that we need to do is, I don't think, you have to have your land surveyor give us a better plan to delineate the backyard and what the square footage is. I can't see what. Yeah, this might be an old plan, so you're gonna have to get a new survey,
Okay.
all
Does
right?
he have the side yards? Does he have 10 feet on the side?
That's 10, it's like, how big is your lot, 12,000 square feet?
12.5.
12.5.
It looks like it has 6 feet in the rear. Is that 6?
No, there is.
6 feet?
I believe it was 2, if I'm not mistaken. But it's going to be, I think it's 5 feet off the wall.
So the rear yard's required to have 2, side yard is 10 feet. So I can tell you, doing some quick math, I think he was allowed up to 6, I think his rear property was about 6,000 square feet, so he's allowed about 600 square feet, so he's gonna exceed that by
Yeah, easily.
whatever the difference is,
Easily.
yeah.
So has this been uploaded to e-permitting?
Yes.
Okay. All right, you'll receive a denial letter today.
Okay.
Present that denial letter to the ZBA if you wish to
Okay.
appeal it. Okay?
Okay.
Does this building have water and sewer?
Oh, yeah, were you looking to put a bar area?
A little bar and a toilet back there, so it's going to be connected into the home, through the house, yeah.
Oh, so this connects to the house?
There isn't now,
Oh,
but we need to get water from the house.
Okay, but are you connecting that structure to the home?
No, it
No.
doesn't look like
Oh,
it.
separate structure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like, you know what the setback between the two structures will be? It looks like roughly around
10 feet maybe,
10 to 12 feet.
15 roughly.
Yeah, so those numbers have to be exact.
Okay.
We need a better plan.
I do have
So
it. We do have
A
it from the
survey?
survey. It's all
We need a
surveyed.
certified
Oh,
plot
yeah,
plan.
full set of
yeah,
plans.
with all those dimensions.
Yeah, not a
And the
problem.
setbacks rear side
Not a
and from the existing structure.
Okay.
Okay?
That's the issue with it.
It's about 1,000 square feet. Yeah. No, it's a man cave or something, probably. Must have
Exercise
his own
room.
space in the back.
What's that?
Pilates with
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so you'll receive that letter today. And
Okay.
then you can decide if you're going to appeal it to the ZBA. In the meantime, get a certified plot plan.
Okay.
Can I hold this?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Okay, you're good.
Thank you.
Good to go. 147 Squire Road.
10% of the land. So he's allowed about 600 square feet, I think that's
Good morning, everyone. Been a while. 147 Squire Road, I'll just give you a 1-minute background so we can just understand where we're coming from. This was originally built as the Pep Boys building, and it was a single-tenant building, about 22,000 square feet, and Pep Boys had about 15,000 square feet of retail and 7,000 square feet for a garage. And we got a special permit for the garage. It was actually a 12-bay garage. After a couple of years, Pep Boys moved out, and They rented to Savers, and then they rented to Dollar Tree. And Dollar Tree is the current tenant in this space, which is 14,898 square feet. They're a retail store allowed by right. This space here, Dollar Tree sublet to a company called Eblum's, which is a clothing store. They've just relocated to the Northgate Shopping Center. So when Eblum's came in, when Pep Boys moved out, they removed all the equipment for the garage, storage tanks, everything. And this space was empty for quite a while. And then Emblems came in and pulled a permit about 7 or 8 years ago, and they built a retail clothing store there. So about 6 months ago, Emblems relocated to the Northgate Shopping Center, and this space is vacant. So I'm releasing the front space to Auto Parts International. They sell all auto parts. The original building, because it was a single tenant building, had just one loading area for inventory and so forth for Dollar Tree. What I'm proposing is Emblems brought everything in through a little side door here. There's a second means of egress on the side of the building over here. And they used to just walk in with a hand truck, all their inventory. What we want to do here is keep this existing opening. This is an existing sidewalk that will stay. What we are proposing is to remove 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 shrubs and make this a paved area and install an 8x10 garage door over here. We'll keep the second means of egress and add an 8x10 opening. So, so we went from a single tenant building to a 2-tenant building, 1 loading area. This will be a second loading area. And it's not really even a loading dock, it's all slab on grade. So, and that's how this one is. They back up and then they just fork everything off the truck and roll it right in. This is a plan prepared by Eaglebrook Engineering. And
Excuse me, Alex, what's the
sorry.
proposed use again for that?
Retail sales, auto parts.
Oh, auto parts.
Retail sale of auto parts.
So no commercial garages, no repairs going on there?
No, no commercial. The commercial garage was removed probably 17, 18 years ago. So when Pep Boys vacated the space, they sent a whole team in and they removed all their equipment, their lifts. They had oil storage tanks for reclaimed oil. They gave me an environmental certificate. They did everything. When they left, the place was completely empty. And then Emblems, what they've done when they took over the space is about half of this, it's 7,140 square feet. About half the space was their showroom. And then the back half where this door would be is where they kept their inventory. So there's actually a wall that they had put, that Emblems had constructed between their inventory area and their showroom area. So on my building permit, what we're requesting is the build out or the tenant improvements for auto parts is pretty straightforward. They just want me to upgrade all the lighting from regular lighting to LED. They want me to rip up the carpet, repaint, and put in this garage door. Those are the major ones that we gotta. Yep. And actually, I've got copies here if you'd like to look a little closer. So the setback over here is 20 feet.
Yeah.
The setback from the building to the sidewalk, the requirement is 20 feet. It's actually 21 feet. So we're going to pave this area here and put in a concrete pad for them to unload. And we'll use the same existing opening. The opening that we have for Dollar Tree is quite wide. So we'll just use the existing opening, and there's plenty of room for clearance for them to back up.
So you're basically extending the width of that existing truck docking area
Yes, yeah. So that there'll actually be two.
another 50 feet.
It's actually going to be 60 by 20, Frank.
Okay.
And the, is it, it's here. Well, this one, total new repaved area, they have marked here 60 by 20, but
That's the new big.
that's the new paved area. Yeah.
So you got a 50 by 20 new area.
Yep, that's the 60. So the existing sidewalk will stay. What we'll need to do is, because this is going to be on grade with the floor of the building, we're going to have to put a 6-inch curbing on the inside of the sidewalk so that there's no, drop off. And there'll be a new overhead door with a security gate leading into the inventory area. So if you looked at this, if you went into this building right now, this is the front entrance of the building. This area here is their showroom, and this area here is their inventory area.
So they, for the dollar store, they back in now, like this way? So then
Yeah, they back in this way.
Right,
And they
so
have,
this new situation is basically the same, they're just gonna back in the other way?
that's correct.
And it's the same, so they have the big 18-wheelers?
They have the big 18-wheelers, and actually, I should have scaled it off for you, but I didn't. In our lease with Dollar Tree, I'm entering into a new lease with Dollar Tree because their lease is expiring in September. So there'll be a new lease with Dollar Tree and a new lease with Autopart International. They have about 70 feet clearance here because they use pretty big tractor trailers. They get 1 or 2 deliveries out, and the deliveries over here are usually box trucks. Yep.
So you said Edmonds was a sublease to the Dollar Tree. So the Dollar Tree will lease the whole building?
When they sublet from Pep Boys,
Yeah.
they sublet the whole 22,000 square feet. So they used roughly 15,000 and were carrying 7,000 square feet vacant.
You said they sublet Pep Boys, so Pep Boys still have a lease at that.
Pep Boys lease, believe it or not, I was in the city council chamber 20 years ago to get it approved. They signed a 20-year lease that expires September 30th of 19. So their 20 years expires in a couple of weeks.
So you're there now, Dollar Tree's now going to sign a new lease with you.
That's correct.
And Autopart International is going to sign a new lease with you.
That's correct. I'll
So
have
what
two.
I'm leading to
Yeah.
is, we've had many issues on this property with Dollar Tree, not maintaining the fire lines. There, I actually had a close one on that. So who's gonna become responsible to maintain the fire alarm system here? Now, when Evelyn's was there, they were sublet from Dollar Tree, so Dollar Tree was responsible for
Dollar
that.
Tree was
Now, if you're having 2 separate contracts, the fire alarm panel is in Auto Parts International, so we have to fight to get in there all the time, the keys keep changing out on us.
Okay.
So who's gonna be responsible to maintain the fire protection systems in this property?
My company will. Well, up until now, I have not even had the right to enter that property, do anything on that property. With Pep Boys, it was a completely triple net lease. They paid the taxes, they did the snow, they did the rubbish removal, they did all the maintenance in the building. So I don't even have access to the building for the last 20 years. As it stands right now, when you walk around that building, it's okay, but it's neglected a little bit. The landscaping is substandard. The building needs to be painted. Parking lot needs to be resealed. When I bring in the company to upgrade the lighting, I've already had them look at the fire alarm system. So I've already hired subcontractors, but I can't get access. For example, the landscaper's going in October 1st, the week of October 1st. All those trees have to be trimmed.
So you have plans to take
I
care of
have
it, 'cause
plans
that
to
was the
upgrade.
next step I was gonna
Yes,
bring up.
yeah,
Because
I have
there is-
plans to upgrade that building. Mostly exterior improvements. The interior of Dollar Tree, they are responsible for the regular maintenance of the HVAC system. And I had an electrician and plumber go in there and look at the electrical system and plumbing system, and it all seems to be in good condition. I even had a roofing company walk the roof, and there's a few areas that need to be reflashed. So once I get access to the building, I actually just got special permission from Evelyn's because their lease goes to September 30th. They're still paying rent, to Dollar Tree, even though they moved out many months ago. But I gave Evelyn's, it was like an act of Congress, but I gave them all kinds of insurance certificates, and they're gonna let me start going next week, because I'd like to get started over there as soon as possible to rip up the carpets, mostly painting, it's mostly a lot of cosmetic work, some electrical, and they had a couple of, Emblems had a couple of dressing rooms that were just little petitions that have to be removed. So that's the extent of the work. So I'll be the point person.
Because we're gonna pull that fire alarm down out of that back road, and we're gonna bring it out front, so we need to talk about that, so.
When Emblems went in there, I know they upgraded a lot of the systems, because even though they applied for the permit as the owner of the land, I had to sign off on the permit, and I know at that time they spent a fair amount of money.
Yeah, they turned the sprinkler system to drop heads, because they put the ceiling in and everything else, which was the high area for the garage. So I'm assuming some of that will come back out, because they're gonna probably do some storage in the back there for auto parts and stuff. So
Yeah.
there'll be some work associated with that.
In the back, it's mostly, they're gonna be installing shelving for their inventory. I don't know how high up it goes. They required a 12-foot clearance in the back with a 16-foot clearance. So,
All right, so basically the trucks are gonna have to come down Quincy Street the other way and back into this. So
yeah. So they can, well, yeah, they can come in this way and
and they'll come back around.
then they would just come back.
They come around this way.
The primary entrance and exit to the building is over here towards the old Papagino site. If you were at the building, 99% of the customers were Dollar Tree. The retail customers enter this way, come in, park in front, and then go out this way. So really, the only vehicles that generally go behind the building is the rubbish company and their deliveries. The other thing I've arranged with the landscaper I've hired is to do a weekly sweeping of the lot and pickup of the lot, because, you know, they didn't maintain their dumpster area, and there were some fines, which they ultimately paid because they were responsible. And,
So what we typically do, Alex, when we're required on this, we have a maintenance agreement that is placed on file with inspection of services, maintaining, you know, parking lots, trash, and maintaining landscaping.
yeah,
And we can incorporate maintenance of the fire alarm system by who's ever responsible. You could be named in that.
I hired a company called the Electricians out of Malden, they
Yeah.
specialize in
My other question is, so if they're accessing the site through Quincy Street now on these tractor trailers, is the curb cut adequate on Quincy Street?
Yes, it's pretty wide.
We have to take a look at that and see if it's substandard.
And the size of the trucks, because they're gonna be able to pull up Quincy Street and back in, or you have to pull that curb back.
No, the existing sidewalk ends right here, so I should have brought a scale with me, but, what do we have here? Nick,
Yeah, 50.
So, yeah, maybe 35 feet.
yeah, so that's quite a,
So you got this back.
yeah, so you have 35 feet to back in, right, that's,
And this is wide.
So that, but I don't see enough detail in the curb. What he's doing.
And we
Coming
just
back
grab
to
this.
this.
No, so you see the curve? You
Yeah.
grab it here,
Yeah.
cut it, and then bring the curve back here. So it'll be like, almost like an island. Kind of like this.
that curve actually exists.
Yeah, match up.
Another question, do we have no parking on Quincy Street? Because it looks like your vehicles
There's all vehicles parked along the edge.
And I don't know how a tractor trailer's gonna get in through here.
Well, the auto body shop that recently changed hands, they park on their side of the street. You know, I haven't bothered them, they haven't blocked anything, but they actually put an outside car lift in the parking lot, and most of that, the landscape yard, they pretty much stay within their yard. But any cars that I see are generally from the auto body shop. If you look at the footprint of that parcel, it's an old footprint. The building covers most of the lot, so they don't have much parking.
What kind of trucks are you talking about? Are these box trucks or are these 18-wheelers that are coming in?
the trucks going into Dollar Tree are trailer trucks. So they're the big boys, they're, 40, 50-foot trailers.
And they come into the curb cut on Squire Road into the site.
Yeah, they just pretty much come around here and then just back in. And the majority of the vehicles going into auto parts will be box trucks. I mean, I've had,
So Auto Parts International, are they gonna be taking deliveries, or are they gonna be also delivering parts? Are
they do both.
So they're running delivery service?
yeah, all the auto parts stores pretty much do deliveries now. So they sell retail, and then they also, if a auto repair shop orders something, they deliver it. Does the same with AutoZone, Auto Parts Plus, they're all handle it the same way.
So they'll be exiting around the building and coming onto the driveway
Yeah.
on the right-hand side of the building.
I'm sorry, Frank.
They'll be doing the opposite of what Dollar Tree does
Yeah.
with their trucks. Coming in the opposite direction, exiting the opposite direction.
Yeah, well, if it's a box truck, they could probably do a 3-point, but if it's a trailer, they definitely have to go around.
Their delivery trucks will probably be on the front end.
And there is a double door on the front. Originally, they said, well, we can use the double door on the front. I said, no, there's too many pedestrians, much pedestrian traffic. I mean, I've had, Emblems has been out for a number of months, and I knew I was going to need to lease the space. I've had massage parlors, nightclubs, restaurants, limousine companies. I've had so many people want the space. I held out for a national retail because they generally.
No nail spots?
What? Excuse me?
No nail spots?
Oh, geez, well, there is a nail spa over here. There's one right here. There's a nail spa here. He has 2 parking spaces, so generally their customers park over here, which is, and then what I'm gonna do is, one of the improvements is these trees are all overgrown, so they're gonna trim all the trees. And the skirting around that sign is in poor condition, I'm gonna upgrade that, and upgrade the lighting, so.
So you're removing 4 trees.
They're more shrubs. They're big, they're shrubs that have gotten overgrown. So-
They can't be replanted on site.
No, but what I'm doing is, the landscaper that I'm bringing in, he's a local guy. He is going to go around the entire site and rip out all the dead shrubs and replace them with new ones. And I can add 4 more. There's some areas here that there's like 3 or 4 dead shrubs. They never maintain the sprinkler system, so some of them just died in the heat. So he's going to rip up anything that's dead, replant and remulch everything. So the site's gonna look nice when it's done.
Yeah, well, that's typically what the maintenance agreement states.
Yeah.
In terms of, fertilizing, watering, cutting, and pruning.
Actually, I can give you-
Replacing dead trees and shrubs. It's
I can give you
necessary.
a copy of my contract with him. I've already signed a contract with him. And the initial cleanup here and replacement of shrubs and mulching is $5,900. He's got a nice description of what he's doing as just the initial. And then there's a monthly contract where he cuts the grass once a week. And like I said, we're gonna sweep the park. The same company's gonna sweep the parking lot once a week.
We won't mind that. I won't mind that in the site plan.
Do you want a copy of the contract with the landscaper? I mean,
I don't think that'll be necessary, just your responsibilities.
Yep.
Plowing the site. Is there anything else?
Has this been uploaded already to the citizens?
The sheet that I gave to the building department was just an 8.5 by 11 because that's all they could scan in.
Okay.
So, but I can have that PDF to you if you'd like.
I'll take this. I just, I'll probably have a few comments about the reconfiguration of the curb and the sidewalk that's gonna be here. So you're adding some curbing, but you're gonna end up with a sort of a strange angle here.
Well,
So
go
I'll be
ahead.
looking for a little bit of a configuration of that, and then probably also a ramp of some type, but I can provide those comments once they're uploaded.
The existing sidewalk, the curves,
Yep,
isn't going to be touched, and that ramps at the end.
there's a ramp there already?
Yeah, that slopes down to the parking lot grade.
Okay.
And the curbing that we're going to add is when you're on, because we're going to have to go down a little bit in depth
Yeah.
because we have to match the floor of the building. If you're walking, this is an existing concrete sidewalk with granite curbing. If you're walking down the sidewalk, what the engineer proposed was putting a curbing here so that if someone's on the edge of the sidewalk, they don't, you know.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm just
Okay.
thinking that where, at the end, where you already have that radius, and
Yes,
you're gonna try to
yeah.
tie into it, you're telling me there's a ramp there, but it's sort of a string, like a funny kind of angle.
It's an angle, yes.
So that curb there may need a little bit of reconfiguration, so it's a little bit rounder, it's not, just cutting in like that. You know, something maybe similar to the other side. But let me take a look at
Yeah.
it, because it's hard to tell that there's a ramp there. So, once you have it up there, I'll take a look and then we'll see if there's
Do
any.
you want to meet out there? Or-
Let me take a look at it
Okay.
first.
So you're showing move emergency egress, so is that just being moved over a few feet? Is that what that new
Yeah.
walkway for new emergency?
Yeah, where it says 20 feet there. What I wanted to do, I know we need a second means of egress there, there's one there now, so I'm gonna use one side of that door opening, will be one side of the garage door opening, and I'm gonna move the door down a little bit so that I can have, that enabled me to add about 10 feet, 7 or 8 feet to the driveway. I wanted to have more depth in the driveway so that nothing stuck out at all, you know. I have plenty of depth over 60 feet, but this way it ensures that when the truck is backed up on that driveway, it'll be completely.
Well, so the reason I asked you that is because if you look at your 8-inch steel bollards, it's got an 8-inch steel bollard right at the 50-foot mark. You won't be able to utilize that last 15 feet.
Yeah, I question, he said that's standard not to encroach on the loading pad area, but I don't think that,
Drop gate on a truck. it's gonna-
yeah, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
However, you do, I would like to see something to maintain that emergency egress.
Oh, yeah.
Path, so I have no problem with that ball getting moved over a little bit, but just to keep the truck from blocking the emergency egress is a good idea. Meaning,
On
we
this-
can move it
on
over
this-
that 15 feet if necessary.
No, the emergency exit will have a walkway going right out to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And, so we're gonna move that down. I just figured if I can grab an extra 5 or 6 or 10 feet in the driveway, it was to our overall benefit.
Okay, anything else?
Okay.
All right, as long as that uploaded, you get your comments and the site plan review letter will be forthcoming in the next day or two.
Do you want me to PDF this to your,
Um,
this one I can.
No, I mean, I can, so once you file for your building permit and all that, you're gonna upload this anyway, so I can grab it from there.
The
If you
permit
have the
application,
PDF.
the permit application has been submitted.
The building permit?
Well, I hired Kevin Hoyle as the general
Yep,
contractor.
okay, I saw that, okay.
So he's going to do the work with his crew,
Yep,
and
okay.
he's actually submitted a building permit,
Yep,
but one
I
of
saw it came
the,
in yesterday.
one of the preconditions was the site plan review,
Okay.
so I told him I'd take care of that part of it. And
So if you take the PDF that you have of this, and if you haven't already, if you include it in his application, then we can review it that way, it should be fine.
Okay, good. All right.
And do you have time tomorrow afternoon, Paul, to meet at Oakwood?
I have a couple of doctor's appointments tomorrow,
Okay.
but I'm available.
Well, get in touch with me, give me a
Yeah.
call, and I'll check with Paul.
Yep.
We'll
And I
try to
have-
schedule a date, a time,
And I have a closing on a property on Thursday, so if we could do it next week,
okay.
I'll give you a call. What
All right.
days are good for you?
Tuesday afternoons and Wednesdays.
Okay. All right, I'll just give you a call at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
I'll call you on
Maybe
Tuesday.
maybe
and
next Wednesday morning, we can put something
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
Okay?
that'll be fine. We can meet there that way, and I'll just mark those,
Yeah.
those areas and get them done, so.
All right.
All right,
thank you.
very good. You can have those copies, I'll keep this one. All set?
Yeah.
All righty, good.
You want to come up? What are you here for? What address? Oh, come on up. What address? 500?
646, we got a notice for on the agenda. emails saying they're on.
Okay.
For the record, Tom Daly with Mylon and McBroom. As you know, this is our third time we've been before this committee, and probably what I need to tell you most is where we've been since we saw you last. So a couple things is we submitted a notice of intent to the Mass DEP. We received no comments on that. We went to your Conservation Commission, received approval from there. We went to Revere Beach Design Review Committee. We received approval there. In addition, Frank, you suggested that we actually go meet with DCR to talk about the front. And we had a big meeting in Boston with about 7 people from DCR, presented the whole plan to them. They raised no concerns. Obviously, we got to work out construction details when we go forward with them. But that was a very positive meeting also.
Okay. How many units was this again? 211?
Yeah, 209, you're right. Yep, 209, correct.
Was there ZBA approval for this?
Yes, we received ZBA approval for the parking. As you recall, your regulations don't envision studio apartments. They just talk about 1 and 2 bedrooms. This is heavily weighted on studios, so we received a parking variance for that.
Okay, the developer is, who's the developer on this?
It's actually officially BC Boston, I believe.
So BC Boston Development.
Correct. That BC Boston Development 1 LLC.
So what it's saying that if it's a studio, there's no requirement for parking?
Just in as your perch per your regs only speak to 1 and 2 bedrooms. So, and the fact that there's a mixed use, we went and presented that to the ZBA. We actually worked it out with the police department, gave them some parking data, and they were supportive of that variance application. So, the regs don't really envision the studio. Sometimes you see regs.
It's considered a 1 bedroom.
Yeah, in your regs, correct. So we asked for adjustment to that, and in light of the adjacency to the train, also that was that. So we received that approval. So at this point, I think this is essentially our last stop.
Do you have a recorded copy of the variance? Has it been recorded?
I'd have to check with the attorney.
Yeah, we will need that
Okay.
uploaded.
Okay.
Do you know when that was issued, off the top of your head?
It's quite some time ago, so it was probably a month and a half ago.
So they might be outside of the 21-day appeal process.
Yeah.
But I think this is kind of premature. I think they should bring the site plan and special permit of the variance and see if there's any type of requirements or conditions set forth. I mean, I don't know what's listed in the variance.
If there were any other conditions that the ZBA put in there.
Were there any other conditions?
No, it was just on the parking.
How much less parking is there?
So we received a variance, I believe, for 70 spaces. Correct. So by the regulation, we needed 312. We have 242, and we reached 70. We asked for 70 variance, and part of that was also we did a parking analysis on the adjacent properties and showed their parking demand, and that was important too.
But are you not, don't you have a commercial
We do have a commercial.
application?
So that was the other thing, is the
Yep.
comment, the idea that those are somewhat offsetting peaks.
Yep.
Correct. Correct. Those were all reasons for the variance was granted.
We incorporate transportation demand measures in the site plan review letter, which require you to not only lease out to tenants, not beyond what the parking spaces handle. So if you provide 200 parking spaces, your tenants can't have more than 200 cars.
And one of
That's included in the lease.
Correct. And one of the things that is different from the project next door is, my understanding is they charge for parking over there, so people are finding cheaper alternatives. One condition of the variance that was talked about was it will be embedded in your rent. So it's not that a la carte thing where people go, oh, forget, I'll park on the street.
Yep.
That was very important to the ZBA to make sure we did that. So there's no pricing there. It's in your lease, you get a space, you're good to go.
So is
explain something to me then? You get 209 units, based on the numbers you gave, you get 172 parking spaces.
Doesn't sound right. That's less than one space per unit.
Good, so
That's not the case.
Well, we know, so we had 272 was for the apartments, but then 40 was required for the retail. And we're providing 242 total.
Oh, 240 people, I thought it was before the agreement, so that was where you said it came out.
Correct.
240.
Correct.
Got it. All right,
Are you you're the architect
Civil engineer.
or the civil engineer? You want to go over the utility plans?
Sure, and one of the comments that we received from you last time was to put some gate valves to isolate the water main, and those are incorporated into the revised plans.
4-gate system?
Correct. That was one of the few comments that we got from you last time. So,
So you have a domestic and a fire?
correct, separate domestic and fire, 4-gate system right here, and that'll come in. As you know, there's a water main that runs through the middle of the project. We had to revise the building, shove it over, and reduce the size of the building. So we'll be reconstructing or putting a new water main all the way around the building and reconnecting off to there. We will have,
What's the size of that main?
it's a 10-inch, I believe, correct. So we'll be putting a new 10-inch around the building into there. Yeah.
What's the size of the domestic and the fire?
Ultimately, the mechanical engineer will have to size those. They're not
So have
on.
you done your fire hydrant, your flow test yet?
I'd have to check with the mechanical engineer and see if they've
And
done
what are your hydrant locations?
it. We have a hydrant here and a hydrant here. And basically, I think the hydrant is already here, and we're just, once we pull the curb line, we have to get, so we have good proximity to the hydrant locations. Where we work out the final fire department connection, we'll have to work with the fire department to find out where that goes.
Nick, so that relocating the water line, do we have to abandon an easement and create a new one?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, and that's one of the reasons we shoved everything over, even moved the storm drainage out of there to keep it, to clearance. There was a lot of conversation on that. I think we actually might have.
Yeah, we have to make sure that the city has the ability to get back there and work,
And-
operate that line,
Yep.
and also repair if needed, so.
And that had added benefit. I guess there's some storm drainage back here, so Public Works was also thinking they may have to get back there at a later date to do that. So that was a twofold benefit. In terms of stormwater, we just have underground galleys here, and ultimately we'll tie into the drainage system that exists there today. Sanitary sewer, we talked last time a little bit about if it is a restaurant use, we have to do a grease trap, which would probably be in the garage and then come back out through the building. We'll have to work out the details on that once the
So does
mechanic.
your design account for, maybe it's an architect question, but talking about this 4,000 square feet of retail space that potentially could be a restaurant, is there ducts running up through the building?
They haven't, that'll be a building permit level thing, but yes, my experience is, I mean, it's really hard to do it afterwards. I think ideally it would make sense to have a restaurant here. I think there was a Revere Beach like that, some people have liked that concept, but it really is driven by the tenant. But my experience is you put all that ductwork, you put all the plumbing in, and if it's not needed, then so be it.
Mine too, but it hasn't happened in a couple
Okay.
buildings that have come in after the fact.
Okay.
So just bring that
Okay.
going forward.
I'll bring that. So
We'll also need wastewater discharge calculation for that use.
Yes.
Because there's an II fee that
Correct.
apply to the restaurant use as well as.
Correct. I noticed, I notified I looked at the file for, I think, this project, and the I-9 fee is not insignificant. It's pretty significant, but I gave the developer a heads up about, what they were charged really early on, so they're aware of that.
Yeah, I think we made them aware also there will be a community improvement trust fund fee because a variance was issued. And that's
Frank, you
3%.
mentioned that at the other meeting, correct?
Okay.
Yes. It was tied to the variance, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's calculating the sewer discharge and the water demand? Would that be you?
We'll work in conjunction with the mechanical engineer.
So I need both of those,
Okay.
so that we can include them in our system model.
Okay.
And see if there's any, negative impacts to the system.
Okay, and I can send those directly to you?
Yes,
Nick?
yep,
Okay,
you can.
I can do that.
So there's an existing drain behind that building, Joe? Is it a 24-inch drain where they'll fall into the?
That was something I want to speak with Nick. We're going to talk about a maintenance schedule on that because that's going to be behind the building, but
Yeah, so behind this one, I think, is the railroad, right? And then there is.
That goes on the partial, the
Correct.
tracks, and
It's-
the railroad.
yeah.
Yeah, we can't hold it.
This project ties into the pipe.
Yeah.
There's a pipe that runs along here, and if I think about mid-property line on this, it shoots underneath the thing. So all three properties are tying into that. And we did present that, we explained that to the DCR, so they're also familiar with that drainage system. We actually provided some mapping that we
They'll
have.
fall behind your side.
No, it actually continues here and actually goes here underneath the tracks, and then it goes out into the wetlands.
Yeah, but we need to know if there's gonna be a maintenance on that, that these aren't gonna get filled up with silt and stuff, and the sumps are gonna be maintained, so it doesn't block the pipe down.
Are you constructing that drain on your property?
No, we'll actually be, the drain is actually on DCR property. On here, we're tying into a manhole that's half on ours and half on, that's where the drain goes today.
So your filtration system, or,
Is all here.
yeah.
So the engineers on the two adjacent properties share their information. And so we have a state compliant infiltration system located here. It'll have manholes for maintenance over here. And ultimately, the pipe will actually go back underneath the building because we had to pull that out of the way to get you additional room. And I think you had some comments about, hey, I want to get back here. So we're proposing it'll be paved here and then gravel all the way back that you can get full access to the rear of the building. So we pulled this building.
What's the pipe that's underneath?
Excuse me?
What's the pipe underneath?
This pipe,
Yeah.
it basically just goes back underneath the parking garage, but that would be privately
What
owned.
is that? It's,
Just just drainage pipes. So we have underground galleys here, the overflow
So
comes.
that's your like connection into.
Correct.
Okay.
But we had to do that because we wanted to free up and give you enough easement room. Because as you know, Nick, we had a little conversation about what size easement you wanted there.
That's because that's the soil purpose on that side.
Yeah.
Well, we had issues with this side because of the access to get behind this other building. You can't get the turn with the back there.
Plus,
I mean-
that's where they have the generator.
Yes. Right.
And you're gonna want any structures back there to be set in a concrete apron, so they're gonna settle on it.
Yeah, the manholes and whatnot.
Yeah, well, we're calling these to be, highway loaded structures here, so you can drive on top of it. So, yeah, we understand that there's a maintenance, it'll be all H20 loaded. You can get.
My thing is the maintenance of the catch basins
Yep.
that are actually behind there on your property. I think there should be some sort of maintenance of cleaning up those sumps, which should be left up to the city, clean up those sumps in the parking lots.
So the ones that are there, I normally ask for an O&M plan
So,
going forward.
So you asked good question. So conservation, in our stormwater pollution prevention plan, we had a written O&M plan. The Conservation Commission also brought that up and said, we love your plan, but make sure it's going to be maintained, and the person who buys, say the property gets sold, that next person needs to know about it. So Nick, we went ahead and put it all on the plan, tells them when to clean it out, twice a year inspected it. They even put they asked us to put some provisions in here. Hey, what if it gets flooded? What do you have to do after a flood event to make sure it's functioning? So we put that in there. The Conservation Commission did, I don't know if they made it a condition, but there was some conversation about maybe putting that on the land record so the next buyer knows there's maintenance requirements. And we said we work with, city council, and if that's what we need to do, we'll do.
I think that should be done.
So the next person who buys the property knows their maintenance requirements. Who's going to see the
There
plan?
should be some type of a reference in the deed or something like that.
Yeah. So our attorney was at the conservation and he agreed that that was not a problem. We could definitely.
That's why I was questioning.
Yeah, this just got added to the plans when the Conservation Commission asked about it, because they're very focused on it. I think from a standpoint of sand and silt and stuff, this project actually is mostly under parking garages, very little pavement, so there's going to be a little need for sanding and silt. So I would think pretty low maintenance going forward.
The roof leak is tied to the infiltration system? or
They are.
tied into the-
They're tied in right through. Because that's ultimately all our impervious is roof. But we did run that through for the groundwater recharge.
You have garage drains or,
They're anticipated there will be a garage drain plan, and ultimately that would go through an oil water separator.
yeah.
And that would have that would be part of the building permit once the architect
And
designs.
where's
it.
your sewer connections that come down the side of the building?
The sewer connection right now, yes, we do have it coming out right here. But ultimately, once the mechanical engineer drops the plan, but we do have it coming out right here and tying it into this. But we think the oil water separator and the grease trap would be in the garage. There's really no room for it all.
So what's your first floor uses? You have the lobby on the first floor. What are you doing about, what's your elevation of that first floor?
So the first floor elevation is 5.8. So the developer is saying that they will do flood protection for those spaces. So we have a, on the first floor, first floor will have retail in this corner, retail in the middle, and then this is amenity leasing, so the leasing office, mail room, and this will really be space for the apartments.
Leasing office.
2 retail spaces, amenity, mail room, parcel room, bathroom, workroom. That would all
have to be floodproof.
correct. The developer said he's worked with these panels that get put up during a flood event, on another project that was successful. But we'll have to clearly, Frank, we have to floodproof that lower floor. I think flood elevation is 11 to 12.
Where's your driveway?
So we have a driveway opening in the middle, and the challenge with this particular project is the 2 neighbors took the corners. So working with our traffic engineers, our primary drive entrance, we explained this to DCR and everything, but the 2 neighbors have basically occupied the corners. So we would have too many conflicts with people driving into it. So our main entry to the garage is here. Creates enough separation here. We have a secondary egress coming out on the corner here.
Exit only?
It is designed wide enough to be both. It is 2. It's only 15 feet wide, so it would be one way. It would probably be an exit. This is 24 feet, so this is we're going to direct everybody here. This is just a relief valve.
Is there any view of the parking garage from Ocean Avenue? Or everything is?
No, it'll be screened, and it'll look similar to your other projects. Frankly, you won't even know you're going by a parking garage.
What about the size? Will it be open?
I think the walls come up above.
Flow through open.
Yeah,
So is that great parking in one level above?
correct,
Up as well.
correct. So west, I believe this is the rear elevation where the train tracks is, so there you will see into it. So the retail wraps around the back corner, so frankly, from the eye of the street, you probably won't see much into it, but then it is open air and to the rear. Yeah, it's meant, correct. That pulls back to the edge, and we'll have landscaping that basically fronts to here, and then it becomes gravel utility.
I know you're not the architect, you have the exterior materials being used?
Yeah, and that's all included in the set, so, in terms of the actual hard material, surface material. I think this, yeah, and ultimately, Frank, I think this is probably your best representation. Be similar, so it looks like a brick banding to kind of create a foundation, and after that, it looks to be a metal panel type finish, pretty similar to what the 2 adjacent properties are. Trying to, match our neighbors a little bit. Even on the streetscape. The one thing that did come out of both DCR and design review is really create, along the frontage, is really let the pedestrian be the primary person. Bring up the sidewalk so it's a flow, do some pavers across the entrance, let the pedestrian feel like that's their space and the cars are secondary. Even there's some discussion about putting a warning as cars coming out, some signage to make sure, because if the sun's hitting you in the eyes, you go over the thing. So it's interesting that both design review and DCR had the same comments on that. So, and then we also did some more, make sure we did some low-level planning so we don't block sight lines coming out. But really create that pedestrian experience so they feel safe as they're coming in and out.
Will there be any bump outs? This is where crosswalk?
There will be, across the frontage, correct, we will be actually pulling the curb line out. We just have 3 spaces across the front, but we will be putting the curb, we picked up the curb line where they did, so we did the bump out, 3 parking spaces here, bring out the bump. This was one of the comments, they really want some surface materials and pull the pedestrians away from the driveway. Even we put some landscaping here to push those pedestrians out to create some separation. And then Frank, we bumped out here. One thing DCR said, they're gonna probably talk to this developer and make sure that, the 2 plans are coordinated because they're in front of us, obviously.
What's the note right there on the island? The 1 liter coming off?
This one here?
That one, then the one up, about halfway up.
This one says gravel.
Okay. So
Gravel. So, yeah, we're looking to,
So that'll be H20 load and you're ready to drive over that gravel?
correct.
That's your access to the site.
It's access.
Right,
It's all-
that's why I'm.
Correct, it's gravel, but it'll be open graded gravel, so it'll let some infiltration, but it's low maintenance. And if it floods, then there's nothing to fix. But yes, you can drive right over that to the back. And we'll probably do a mountable curb right here, and because we're actually paving to almost all the way to here. And this is just gravel here, but we can do a curbing that's mountable and you can drive right back.
So you said that you're gonna be coordinating with the neighbor?
DCR was,
Yeah,
because DCR has already given them a permit. And,
It looks like your bump out is farther out than this.
well, we match here. The problem is they put the curb lines
That's why I got a problem.
1 foot off, not one. So they were gonna talk to them about seeing if they could do something to make the pedestrian experience a little better right here. But it's driven by them, not by us.
Seems like their curve could go back. So you could
Correct.
go out that island.
So maybe this island comes out a little bit, but DCR said they were gonna reach out to them.
Yeah.
They liked what we did here, across the front, but clearly they want to get the pedestrian away from this curb line.
Right.
They kind of went, oh, maybe we should have looked at that a little closer. So my understanding DCR is also looking at doing a kind of a master plan for the whole road, on that. But yeah, that's exactly what they were talking about. They may approach him to see if they can tweak that and pull that curb line out a little bit. But it's really on these guys are obviously well in advance of us. We probably wouldn't be,
Yeah, that corner's not even built yet.
no. So time, yeah.
There.
So we shared these plans with DCR and they were gonna talk to them.
Everything's uploaded to ePermit.
Including the stormwater.
Yeah. So get that variance before the variance.
You said it was already recorded.
Yeah, the upload is also.
Okay.
So you have submitted everything, so you'll be getting a site plan review letter
Okay.
shortly, which will then allow you to file a plan review.
Great. So we'll upload the file thing right into e-permitting again. Okay. And then Nick, I'll work with you independently on the water and sewer. Okay.
So my comments will come through that citizen's report.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Do you know who the fire protection engineer is?
Excuse me?
Do you know who the fire protection engineer is?
No, not at this time. I'd have to find out.
You want them to
Do
meet
you think
Yeah,
some early conversation?
When they get to a draft point, have them reach out to me.
Okay.
Meet with me, and
That's a good idea. I like that.
Go through it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it may be timing is appropriate with you, Nick, because then I can get the fire flood in the end. If we did want a hydrant test out there, do we go through?
Yep, you need to schedule with,
Perfect.
Okay.
So Frank, do we need to come back to this commission again?
No need to do that.
And then we move into the next phase?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. That concludes site plan review for September 10th, 2019.